Hey guys, subscribe for daily knife content. And if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a pretty cool knife review slash overview to share with you guys. This is the very cool and very tiny Spyderco McBee. This knife was sent to me by Jason. I won't say his last name, but I did. Jason, if you're watching, I did find it humorous. This knife is the McBee, and it was designed by Jonathan McNeese. There are McNeese custom versions. This is a production collaboration. In any case, thank you very much, Jason, for sending this along. First off, right off the bat, there's going to be a whole bunch of people who already know everything there is to know about this knife, have already looked up the price, and they're going to jump in just for 30 seconds to say, that knife's small. Small knife, not expensive. Why expensive? Big object, expensive, right? Not small, can't understand. Listen, I'm kind of making fun of you, but I'm also kind of making fun of me because I used to think like that too. Yeah, this is a fairly pricey knife for, the fact that it's a small cutting object. But reducing the value of an item to its size is doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? For example, it's easy to think that way when trucks, generally speaking, a brand new truck generally costs more than a brand new car. Not if we're talking about a brand new Ford Ranger versus a Lamborghini. No, we're talking about something in the same class, right? A truck costs more than a car. So big costs more than small, right? A bouncy castle costs less money than my truck, but it's bigger than my truck. So that logic does not apply. And I understand that sounds very condescending, but we cannot apply that universally. It doesn't make sense. Sometimes objects cost more money than other things that are relatively in the same class of item, right? Because they cost more money to make despite their size. That being said, this is still a little bit pricey, and I'm going to talk about that, but I wanted to clear that up. I don't mean to be offensive, but I always see that. I always see the guy who's like, small, mad because small, can't buy because price not makes sense. Anyways, thanks so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. If you'd like to check out my Patreon, there's a link right down in the description. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. This is undoubtedly a small knife. Overall length of the McBee coming in at 3.8 inches overall. The blade length coming in a very legal length of 1.5 inches, and the cutting edge also just about 1.5 inches. So there you go. I am not going to do size comparisons with the larger knives today. Here it is up against the Spyderco Para 3. Here it is up against the Benchmade Mini Griptilian. And for one more size comparison, I will also do the Ontario Wrap Model 2, right? Here it is up against some smaller common items like a tube of chapstick, a quarter, a penny, the Knife Nuts podcast coin, right? How about the laser cannon from a 90s action figure of the Green Ranger? I know that's not helpful, but it's out for some reason, so there you go. Okay, let's go ahead and do a hardware check on this guy. I'll get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the description. I'm going to guess that these are all camera right here, guy. Right here is what we're trying to look at. There we go. Okay, I'm going to guess the pivot's a T8. Is it? Yeah, the pivot is a T8. There's no use checking the other screw or screws for the pocket clip. They are T6. Okay, this is a tiny object. Be careful. The WIA bits are better at not stripping out. And just be careful and make sure you have a place to put your hardware. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. Let's talk about carry profile. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. Not a thick knife, right? I mean, it's basically the exact same thickness. Even though it's small, I still wouldn't call that thick. Length and height up against... Does it even make sense to do the PM2? There you go. It's shorter and smaller than both. Made out of titanium, a little bit of weight reduction here because of the holes, right, which are present on one side. What's the blade steel? The blade steel, by the way, this is Taichung, Taiwan. Very, very good quality from Taichung, Taiwan. If you're not aware, you might be thinking, obviously the best Spydercos come from the U.S. Really good Spydercos come from the U.S. In fact, my favorite Spydercos of all time come from the U.S. for the most part. But Taichung, Taiwan has above and beyond quality, fit, and finish. They also are still periodically using CTS XHP, which is a wonderful, wonderful steel, and I think it works really well for this. So that's cool. Weight on this guy. Gosh bless it. Okay, here we go. Okay. 1.73 ounces. There you go. I mean, there's no use talking about ratios and things. This is going to be an easy object to carry. For a lot of people, this is going to be a 5th pocket knife. If you want it to be your dedicated pocket knife, it will work for that too. You might be wondering, what's the deal with that clip? Does it come with that? No. This was apparently bought as an anniversary gift. And I imagine the clip was afterwards. The standard clip that it comes with looks like this. And I can understand why he switched the clip, partially for aesthetic stuff, but also because, wow, this clip is way too long. I get it. That clip makes more sense and it looks cooler, right? But yeah, the standard clip on this guy is a little bit too long. But then again, it's like this is a 2-finger knife, right? So am I really worried? Oh, when I'm bearing down on this, right? I'm trying to, you know, I'm shaving strips off of 2x4s with it. When I'm bearing down on it with my bare hands, that clip creates a hot spot. It kind of seems a little bit ridiculous to argue about that, right? So this knife, if it did have jimping right here, I think it might be able to be front flipped. I can't do it. You definitely can sort of snap it out like that. And you can also, I'm going to cut myself on accident. You can get it. I'm working with the angle of the camera here. You can get it. Just take my word for it. It's easiest to just sort of pinch open it. You can also hold it and just wheel it out because they did make ample room for that, that hole. Titanium, CTS XHP. We did not measure the blade stock. I think it's worth measuring because, as you can imagine, because of the profile of the blade, it's not going to be a performance slicer. This is kind of a, in the moment, it's convenient, it'll work, right? But it's really neat, and that's why I carry it. That's the kind of item it is. So not crazy, right? But this is a, you can see here, there's your grind profile there. It does not come down to a razor thin edge, but will it work? Yes, especially for getting into boxes. I mean, if you're going to go here and do like a draw cut, you're going to get into some boxes. Yeah, this is well thought out for a tiny little knife. I'm not usually a fan of micro knives, not because I'm like, knife small, not value because small, right? Not because of that. It's because I'm like, I just want a bigger knife, right? Even if I don't need it. The truth is, day to day for what I do with my knife, this would get me by just fine, unless I needed to chop a pineapple in half, in which case this would take this knife a very long time. And I don't have that long, right? I want to eat the pineapple. Anyways, yeah, what was I saying? What was the point I was trying to make? Did I already make the point? Probably. It's a small blade. It's going to work, right, for EDC. I like it. Where you are, you know, confined to hold on to this knife, it's pretty good. You're locked in behind the blade. You're pretty close to the cutting path. Like I said, this knife is basically going to be, you know, a lot of people are going to go, I could do the same thing with a folding box cutter. It's the same blade length. It don't cost me weight. Yeah, you can, but that's boring. If somebody asked me, do you want to pay $5 for this box cutter and carry that for the rest of your life? Or do you want to carry this thing that is way more expensive, will take, you know, it'll take some extra maintenance, right? But it's you know, made in a way that's a lot more interesting. The finishes are more interesting, right? The entire object itself is more interesting. I'd be like, take that box cutter and throw it into the mesosphere. I'm not interested at all. Me personally, I appreciate more than the potential utility and, you know, how efficient it is, right? Based on the economic, all the little, you know, cost of maintenance over time or cost of material, whatever, right? I just don't care. I'm just not interested. I'm more interested in something like this. We'll talk about the price here in a second. Taichung Taiwan's finish, their tumbled finish is absolutely beautiful. It's actually pretty semi-reflective. It's not a true mirror. I'm trying to wipe this off so you guys can see. It's not a true mirror, but it's the same type of finish you're going to see on like the Spyderco Bowie or the Paisan. This is beautiful. It's very beautiful. And you can see how nicely knocked down everything is. There was a lot of extra work that went into this little teeny tiny object, right? You can see right there, McBee's Taichung Taiwan, which is not the same thing as China. I know that the vast majority of you know that, but I am shocked daily to find that there are many people commenting who think that that's the same thing. It is not. Anyways, this is a titanium frame lock. This is kind of it's like almost like tumbled bead blasting. I like how the pivot looks, kind of like the pitted rock look, right? No, it does not come with a lanyard. It's on there so that he can have the feeling of more grip or maybe make it easier to pull out of the pocket or whatever. Pillar construction. Standoff. One of the standoffs is the lanyard barrel, and then there's 2 additional standoffs, right? In and out of the pockets, really not bad, right? Either clip. It's fairly smooth, so you're not going to have an issue there. Another small detail I like is the little sort of rock pattern they have on the relief cut. A lot of people are going to look at that and go, oh my gosh, that's late. It's really not that big of a deal. This is a carbonized titanium lock face, which means it's hardened, and it is definitely settled into this position at probably 85% or so. There is no blade play up, down, left, or right, and there's no lock stick either. It is running on, if you can see in there, let me get my flashlight, which is probably going to way too much light. No, it's okay. Can we see in there? Phosphor bronze. That's cool. Very smooth. Very, very smooth. My flashlight does not want to turn off. There we go. Very smooth. Now this guy, I think, is ever so slightly off center, and that's not because they come like that, or I'm going to assume that he's been using this and carrying it, because that's what it kind of feels like. And probably opening and closing it over time has caused it to come ever so slightly off center, in which case you just need to turn the pivot and put it back. It's a tiny knife. This isn't going to be for everybody, right? Some people are going to want more of a knife. Some people, might be limited legality-wise, right? And just looking for something simple like this. Some people might not be limited, in terms of like legal, just laws in their area. They just like the idea of having a small pocket knife. The benefit of carrying something like this is a backup or a 5th pocket knife, not like, the 5th knife that you're carrying. Like you're carrying 4 other knives and this is the 5th one. No, like the 5th pocket, right, on your jeans. It's a nice knife for that. It's nice, if somebody, you're in a setting where it's probably not a good idea to whip out your Cold Steel Voyager, right? To open Karen's bag of pretzels at the front desk. This makes a little more sense. This is pretty not intimidating. It's just a teeny tiny little knife, right? And so I can understand why somebody might like that. All right, on to the price. What is the price on this? It's $145. Oh my gosh! I had somebody, when I unboxed it, somebody left a comment. They were like, that is ridiculous. I am never doing business with Spyderco again. What a dramatic, oh my gosh. I'm not going to say what it was, but what a dramatic response. Just don't buy it if you don't like it. It's not like the McBee is constantly like causing trouble. It's not like it's egging your house. Like, unless you pay money for me, I'm going to be a constant torturer and aggressor in your life. No, it's just sitting there. It's not doing anything. It's just sitting there. Just don't buy it if it bothers you that much. What a ridiculous statement. I honestly pity the person who left that comment. Now, that being said, it is a bit high. It feels a bit high. I can honestly see $100 here and maybe up to about 120, 145. And it's like, where are you getting that information, Complex, right? Have you've made knives? Have you machined knives? Do you have insider information? No, I'm just a guy who's handled some stuff, right? There's a lot of work that went into this. It is machine made, but these things aren't just slapped together. Definitely not. I think 120 is about the height of acceptable on the price. But on the flip side of that, I actually really like this. In fact, I'm going to tell you guys, this is my favorite micro knife that I've ever handled. What is a micro knife? What's the exact measure? I have no idea what the cutoff is, right? That's just how I'm defining it. You can pick this up. It's down in the description, right? If you like how this looks, you like what I said, then feel free. If you don't like it, right, you don't agree with me, then just don't buy it. Fortunately for you, Spyderco has a gajabillion knives to pick from, right? And that's just one company. So you can simply let this be the inanimate object that it is and go on with your life. But if you want my thoughts, I think this is cool as a micro knife. And even though it's a little bit overpriced, I still really like it. And it's just another example of the quality, coming from Spyderco's Taichung, Taiwan factory. This is cool and it's clicky. Listen to this. Ooh, click. Click. Yeah, that's cool. I like this. Where can you get that clip? I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. Sorry. I don't know that there's really all that. I can't really say much more, right? This comes down to preference. If there's room for this in your life and you like it, then great, go ahead, right? I think this is cool. So I'm a little more like, yeah, it's made well, right? Now, if I just hated how it looked and I would still admit like, hey, the quality's there, right? But the knife doesn't appeal to me. In that situation, I would say the quality's there, it just doesn't appeal to me, right? Now, that's the case with the Benchmade Bug Out. Quality's there, it's overpriced, doesn't appeal to me. Can I recommend it? Yeah. I'm not going to not recommend it just because I'm not all about that. It doesn't put the vibes off that I want. No, I can still recognize that it's a quality item and useful for some people, right? This is not going to be useful for everybody. But if you're looking for a micro knife, I can recommend that one. It's got a, price is high, but it's cool. It's made well. I love CTS XHP. That's going to be pretty much it today. Thank you very much, Jason, for sending this in for review. Guys, please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.